with us.
We are going to talk about political and social issues in the United States.
And we will meet some American native people and we are going to talk to them.
We are going to ask to them some questions and some opinions that they might have about these topics.
Finally, we will make a comparison between Colombia's government and United States one. Let's go!
American citizens' opinions about some political and social issues in the United States. It is certainly a big deal to talk about, isn't it? There are quite a lot of situations going on around this country and its citizens that could make them have a certain position about them. This could actually guide us as a source for delving into USA's deep culture. Well, now, for sure, many of the aspects about the country are imposed or not from its president. USA has had 45 of them. The first one was George Washington since 1789 to 1797. And then now we've got President Donald Trump since 2017 to nowadays. Now, what do the American citizens think about the actual government policies and decisions on topics such as foreign relations and environment? Well, to know this, first it is necessary to inquire into people's points of view. So let's see how this cultural project goes.
What is your opinion about Donald Trump as United States President?
I was not happy with the results of the election. I did not vote for him. I did not want him to be our president. My personal opinion is I don't think he should be our president, and I didn't vote for him, and it's been a very difficult time here since he's been in the presidency.
I think this election, and I am not a Donald Trump supporter, I think that this election is evidence that our electoral process needs to change. Trump was elected not by the people, but he was elected by what we call electoral college. And what that means is that in each state, depending on the population of that state, they have so many representatives and electoral voters that are assigned to those states. Someone who does not win the popular vote, for example, let's just say, for example, there's 5,000 people that live in the United States. 3,000 people vote for one person and 2,000 people vote for the other. That doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to be the outcome. It's not the popular votes. It's based on the number of electoral votes that they get from each state. If the number of electoral votes is higher, that person will win the election. And that is how Donald Trump became president of the United States. He's not a president for and of the people. Yes, he has a lot of supporters, but he won the election merely by the electoral college, which shows that our election has a big flaw and needs to be changed. So it's not surprising that he won. This has happened in the past with Bush and Al Gore. Al Gore won the popular vote. Bush won the presidency. He won based on the electoral vote. Unfortunately, we cannot say this is a vote that was guided by the people. And unfortunately, he has become the president based on this glitch in our system.
On November 2016, Donald Trump was elected as the U.S. President due to votes from 13 of the states of the country. The Electoral College process consisted of the selection of the electors, the meeting of the electors where they vote for the president and the vice president, and the counting of the electoral votes by Congress. American citizens may think he didn't win elections by people's choice, but the electoral constitution.
Make a quick comparison between Donald Trump's government and Barack Obama's one.
Donald Trump, as a president, he leads by creating chaos in the country, in the society. He also has no experience in politics, whereas Barack Obama had many years of experience and grew up through the ranks and was a senator before, so he had a political life before he became president. Barack Obama is a very well-studied man as well and knows how to go about things in a diplomatic way. Donald Trump doesn't understand what diplomatic means. He is also focused not so much on diplomacy, but on what is good for himself. So I think he thinks more about himself than about the people of this country.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge comparison. There's nothing similar about the two. They have completely separate policies. President Obama came in with the idea of change, and that was to try and change everything. He may not have been like the strongest with policies. I think that a lot of people felt that he needed to be stronger when it came to stances against certain countries such as Iran or Korea. However, he was more progressive in the changes he wanted to see in America. He wanted to see more programs for people that would normally have advantages, such as our healthcare system. He wanted to see our environment and be a leader in the environmental changes in the United States to project that around the world. He believed in a lot of progressive ideas. Trump has the idea, and this is his slogan, is to make America great again. The idea is that in the past, America was great, and we need to get back to that. But in those days, we didn't have environmental safety procedures. We didn't have many of the things that Barack Obama was trying to change to better the United States and to become a world leader. That is the biggest difference between the two, is they have polarized ideas of how to progress the United States as a world-leading country. Trump thinks that the past is the best, whereas Obama, he was looking to change for our future and to see our policies in a futuristic light for the betterment of the people. So they're completely opposite.
Presidential approval polls during Trump's government have shown that 66% of America's citizens still think that Obama's government was better than Trump's one, and that just 22% of them have confidence on their current president's decisions, versus 64% of them that have confidence on their past president Obama. So, in that order, America's citizens may think that the biggest difference between them is that Obama looked to a projection of the future with his progressive ideas, and in the other hand, we have Trump that wants to come back to the past like the Bush government.
What is your opinion on North Korea's relationship with the US?
There have been many changes in the last couple of months about the relationship. At first, when they were trying to be bullies to each other, Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump, it seemed that we were close to a potential conflict, a potential war between the two countries because of the way our president was reacting to him. And that was scary. That made people nervous, including me. And now I'm more suspicious. It's wonderful things that have just happened in the last couple of weeks with the unity and the meeting between the two Koreas, the presidents of the two Koreas, or the leaders of the two Koreas. And so now there's a bit of hope that perhaps there can be an agreement reached with denuclearization. But there are many of us here in the United States that are still suspicious of what the true intentions are of North Korea. And although I think it's very positive and must give credit to Donald Trump for making something happen, at the same time, we're nervous about a direct meeting between the two of them, and what that may, we're hopeful that something good will come out of it, but we're also a little bit suspicious of intentions from North Korea, as well as how Donald Trump will actually be in person negotiating.
Diplomatic relationship between North Korea's government and USA's one has been historically hostile on military and nuclear activities and quite unfriendly, primarily developed during the Korean War in 1950 between North Korea, supported by China and the Soviet Union, and South Korea, supported by United States. According to a 2014 BBC World Service poll, only 4% of Americans see North Korea's influence positively, and the 96% express a negative view. Now, there's a general sort of hope in USA citizens about a friendlier relationship between the two countries from the Panmunjom Declaration for Peace, Prosperity and Unification of the Korean Peninsula that North Korea and South Korea signed on April 2018.
What do you think about Donald Trump's proposals of solving the illegal immigration situation into the United States?
I think it's a joke. I think now people that come to the United States, if you say by way of Mexico, they don't have to come over the fence or under the fence. They can take a plane. You don't have to, you can have a visa. You can come from Colombia with a visa and enter the United States. After the visa expires, if you want to stay in the United States, you can stay. Not legally, but it's possible. So I think that his proposal of keeping immigrants out is ridiculous.
I'm completely against it. I think that the whole idea about build the wall and make Mexico pay for it was ridiculous. And now, even though it's one of his campaign promises and he continues to talk about the wall, he is looking to Congress to fund it now. He's not really making Mexico pay for it because Mexico will never pay for a wall. So the whole idea behind his campaign promise of making Mexico pay for the wall is really never going to happen.
In 2014, there were 11 million of unauthorized immigrants in the United States, who represented in that year the 3.5% of total population. But in 2016, according to Center Migration Studies, it decreased to 10.8 million of people. First at all, the decision that took was to make a shuffle. Because millions of people don't have a job, maybe it will be difficult to come back to their countries without anything.
Do you consider that gun control policy among citizens in the USA is necessary? Why?
I don't believe there's any reason for anyone to have a military-style weapon. Many arguments for keeping guns legal is that was something that was introduced in our Constitution by our founding fathers when the United States was forming. But this was a different time. These are not semi-automatic weapons. These were not weapons for military. These were weapons used at the time that had very little power in being able to kill large masses of people. When we talk about gun control, there's some people who believe that guns should be illegal, period.
Absolutely. I think we have seen this year for the very first time movement around this gun control issue, because for so many years, look at the number of mass shootings that we have had in the United States, the number of killings, people killed by gun incidents or gun violence is way, way higher than many other countries around the world. The problem is that the gun lobbyists in this country have a very strong hold over politicians here. And so many efforts to try and implement more gun control legislation has never been successful. But the change that we've seen this year with the shooting in Parkland, Florida, is that now students from high school were able to advocate for gun control, to lobby around it, to have this amazing movement that went worldwide, and they're making a stand. And I think we as adults can learn a lot from these students that are using their rights without even having the right to vote yet. They have done more for this issue just by bringing everyone together to march.
Reported polls in 2013 show that 48% of Americans think that gun laws should be made more strict. The two issues as that only 12 of the USA's 50 states require purchase permits for handguns. Only California, Connecticut, and Hawaii among them require permits for the purchase of rifles and shotguns, broad majorities of more than 8 in 10 Republicans and Democrats and independents who lean toward each party support blocking people who are mentally ill and people on federal no-fly or watch lists from buying guns. American citizens might think that there has to be an increased control on gun access due to the violent accidents and events that USA have been experiencing.
Do you think Donald Trump's proposal of stopping the climate change ecologic project is necessary or not?
I think it's awful. You can ask most people around the world which country is looked at by most people. Not to say it's the best country. The United States is not the best country. But many countries look to the United States to make decisions in the world. And that because many other countries will tend to follow the example. We're able to make those kinds of advancements and also to allow the other countries to follow our lead. I think with Trump now saying that we're going to pull back, and his reasoning is because the other countries are not giving as much as the United States, and it's not been for his supporters, but he wants to appease his supporters. So I don't think that Trump has the intelligence or the ability to understand climate change or anything scientific. I think he's a complete moron. So that's, I don't agree, obviously, with what he has decided to do with the United States and our agreement with.
I don't think he should, but I think he will. I think his plans to do it he will move forward with that decision. I don't think it's the right decision. I think he doesn't understand that global or climate change is real.
The Clean Power Plan presented by United States Environmental Protection Agency in 2013 looked for reducing carbon dioxide emissions by 32% from 2005 levels by 2030. Electric plants in USA are the main source of greenhouse gas pollution in United States, and Donald Trump does not want to destroy this main source, so he supports carbon industry and its noxious emissions. American citizens might think that Trump has not taken consciousness with the environment protection, climate change, greenhouse emissions, and so, well, it is considered that stopping an ecologic project is just a manifestation on his non-interest on planet's suffering situation. American citizens' reactions evidence their knowledge and their clear position on the main aspects and problematics in the country and in relation with us.
Citizens' reaction to the political and social issues in the country show their analytic and critical way of the thinking and behavior about them.
To conclude, it is necessary to mention that political and social issues in USA, as well as American citizens' opinions about those issues, are not nearly the same as political and social problematics in our country, Colombia, and neither as Colombian citizens' opinions about those problematics.
So, for example, the voting situation in the USA is different to the Colombia's one due to the electoral systems where citizens' votes in the USA are counted according to the electoral college in each state, whereas here in the Colombian citizens' votes are counted according to the actual individual votes.
Well, in Colombia, these two government tendencies have been evidenced. Colombia's presidential government since 2002 to 2010 had shown an interest for giving to our country a political and social situation exactly similar as in our past. But Colombia's presidential government since 2010 to 2018 has shown a totally different perspective. We can say, like the Barack Obama's thought, a projection of changes to the future.
Among these existing contrasts, there is an aspect in which USA's government as well as Colombia's government converge. It is the aim or the inclination for either giving to the country a political and social situation exactly similar as in the past, or for giving a political and social situation totally different to the past. In USA, it is considered that President Trump has the aim for giving to the country a political and social situation exactly similar as in the past. On the other hand, it is considered that the former President Obama had the inclination for giving to the country a political and social situation totally different to the past.
This is all for this video.
And see you next time.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Come on, Barbie, let's go party. I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Life and plastic, it's fantastic. Come on, Barbie, let's go.